My excitement is building as I prepare to delve into the reasons why I am confident that XRP investors are on the verge of having their confidence rewarded in today's episode. When looking back at 2021, it is evident that XRP did not have the same boom as many other cryptocurrencies, primarily because of the legal problems it faced. But now I'm beginning to see these legal obstacles as more of a strategic ruse, possibly aimed to discourage regular investors like us from getting involved in the market. One of the most intriguing aspects of XRP is the underlying function it was designed to serve, particularly when taking into consideration the digital-oriented future that we are moving toward. Welcome to the thank you for visiting your go-to location for the most recent information about XRP. Before we get into the specifics of today's great updates, I would want to make a small request for that favor. Show your support for us if you enjoy the stuff that we provide. If you want to become a member of our wonderful community, you should give that like button a good smash, subscribe to our channel, and ring the notification bell. In addition, I have some really wonderful news. Just as we are getting close to reaching the 60,000 subscriber milestone, we are getting ready to host a magnificent XRP giveaway. The participation process is really simple and only requires 3 steps. You won't want to miss out on this opportunity, so make sure you stay tuned for further information. It is also important to remember to include the hashtag MONEYSIDE in your comments in order to guarantee that you will be considered for the contest. The fact that we are entering a new era in which digitalization plays a pivotal role and virtually everything is undergoing a shift to a tokenized format is something that we are familiar with. A deeper examination of the basic papers of XRP, such as its white paper, indicates the cryptocurrency's primary purpose to facilitate the streamlining of transactions, not only involving currencies, but also involving a variety of assets in a world where tokenization is becoming increasingly widespread. It is captivating to consider the possibility that XRP could be designed to facilitate the transfer of tokens that are based on assets as well as monetary value. Efficacy is the most important thing. The use of tokens reduces the complexity of operations greatly. XRP may be in conjunction with Stellar, which could be viewed as XRP's less glamorous brother, is poised to become the backbone not only for the transfer of currency, but also for the transfer of digital assets. To throw additional light on the reasons why XRP has the potential to alter the landscape of remittances, let's explore the impact that it has on liquidity. It is necessary to have twice as much money in order for a transaction to take place under the current banking system. For example, if you want to move $200 million, 0 cents, from a Japanese bank to an American bank, you will need, in order for the transaction to take place, the role that XRP plays in this setting is transformational, and it has the ability to fundamentally alter the functioning of global remittances by dramatically liberating liquidity. For the purpose of this section, I will investigate the revolutionary potential of XRP in relation to the area of liquidity and the foreign exchange market, also known as the FX market. Consider a hypothetical situation in which a token such as XRP enables transactions to take place almost instantly. With this invention, a large amount of liquidity might be unlocked, which would result in a market that is significantly more efficient. It is precisely because of this efficiency that we have seen a great number of banks working with Ripple recently. On the other hand, the transition to institutional acceptance has not yet achieved its full potential. To better illustrate this point, let's look at an example. Therefore, if the Bank of Mitsubishi in Tokyo has to send yen worth $100 million, 0 cents, to its New York office and convert it into dollars, you would require an equivalent amount in both currencies at both locations, which would effectively tie up $200 million, 0 cents. This would be the case if the Bank of Mitsubishi in Tokyo needed to send the yen to its New York branch. However, if this transaction were to be connected to a token or cryptocurrency such as XRP, the consequences would be huge. Another intriguing event to take into consideration is the possibility that Ripple will go public, a decision that is now awaiting permission from the SEC. One of the most important achievements is Ripple's victory in the litigation in which Judge Torres ruled that the cryptocurrency does not qualify as a security. Personally, I have been an investor in XRP for a considerable amount of time. However, we do not go into great detail about this topic on the channel. It has been a complicated relationship for me with XRP. During the last bull market, I was able to get higher returns with other assets, whereas the success of XRP was significantly hindered by the litigation. In addition, the community surrounding XRP occasionally displays a fairly extreme excitement that is almost cult-like, which is something that I find really intriguing. There have been times when I have experienced an excessive amount of optimism for a project, and XRP was not an exception to this rule. Some of my followers may have made investments based on my enthusiasm, and they may have suffered losses as a result. This caution arises in part from the worry described above. Nevertheless, recent technical analysis indicates that XRP may be on the verge of seeing a rise similar to the one it experienced in 2017. The current configuration matches the one that existed before to the surge in 2017. The HVF, also known as the Hunt Volatility Funnel approach, has been the subject of multiple conversations on the show, and the presence of Francis Hunt as a guest has supplied us with insightful information. He is forecasting that the value of XRP would increase to $1.16, which would be a huge increase from its present price of approximately $0.60. It is possible that investors will get a tremendous return on their investments if this projection is accurate. XRP presents what I consider to be a huge opportunity, and the objective of today's video is to highlight that possibility. Despite the fact that it may sound like a story that has been told before, there is a compelling reason to assume that investors in XRP are on the approach of a significant advantage. The technical structure of XRP is the most important aspect to consider in this context. It appears to be following a pattern that is comparable to the one that led up to the amazing ascent in 2017. In 2021, the fact that XRP did not achieve any new highs is actually a sign of optimism, creating the conditions for a possible recurrence of the surge that occurred in 2017. The hopeful view that Francis Hunt, whose technique I have spent the past year studying, anticipated is one that I, as someone who has XRP, share. It would be difficult to overlook the similarities that exist between the patterns that occurred prior to 2017 and the current scenario. The possibility that XRP will reach $16.00 indicates that a significant event is expected to occur in the near future. There are a number of reasons that could have an impact on this, including the possibility that Ripple would go public or their recent decision to buy back its stock, which serves as an indication of their confidence in their approach. There is no question in my mind that XRP should be included in your portfolio, particularly considering the significance of quick liquidity in the modern day financial environment. The frustration that many people who own XRP have experienced is something I would like to acknowledge. It is a sentiment that I agree with. Nevertheless, I am of the opinion that our perseverance is going to be rewarded. A long-awaited run that has the potential to recast the value of XRP and its function in the cryptocurrency market is about to take place, and we are on the verge of experiencing it. In this section of the film, I will investigate the possibility that the Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, under the influence of higher forces, may have been aiming to discourage individual investors from investing in XRP. In spite of the lawsuit that Ripple was facing up until very recently, it is noteworthy that an increasing number of banks are taking part in Ripple's collaboration. It would appear that the legal challenges did not dissuade major financial institutions, which demonstrates the resiliency and potential of XRP. Particularly noteworthy is the fact that XRP is one of the few cryptocurrencies that has a defined legal standing and is not considered to be a security. The clarity that XRP possesses places it in a position to possibly raise its proportion of the total cryptocurrency market, and technical signs support the chance that this could occur